I'm gonna do like a Calypso intro. I'm gonna be like, "Welcome to Super Media Runners."
Welcome to Super Media Runners!
That's more Joker. all right.
Super Media Runners!
Welcome to Super Media Runners.
We run the media
to you.
right to you, baby!
Something like that. So today we're gonna be doing, with the new trailer, the new teaser for Twisted Metal, the TV show on Peacock coming out. We wanted to do a Twisted Metal movie idea because I've had this brewing for a long time. Me and John are huge Twisted Metal fans. We've been playing it since the second game.
Huge.
Super excited for this new basically TV show. So what we said, let's do a movie. So we're gonna do a movie and figure it all out. Oh shoot. I gotta get the deck.
In Pitch Runners, we will go over cast, plot summary, and our whole movie pitch using Dan Harmon's story circle through the main character's journey. But before we take that journey, we must consult the studio deck. We pick one card and must do what the card says during the presentation of our idea.
Before we pull out a card from the studio deck, we are going to kind of give a brief summary of what we already have as far as plot summary and cast introduction, because we have some pretty good fan cast picks for this one. So the main character we wanted was Roadkill, and who better to portray a disheveled homeless guy than Anthony Mackie? I'm just kidding, not Anthony Mackie on this one. It's going to be Ron Perlman. Really good voice, really good range. He'll be playing Roadkill, who in our story is going to be playing a detective trying to solve the case about who Calypso is while trying to, also survive in this tournament.
And for those of you that aren't familiar with Twisted Metal, Calypso is like the main antagonist. In some games, he's like a supernatural
entity being,
phantom.
And in Twisted Metal Black, he's more of like, he kind of knows a guy and he's kind of like...
And then on the opposite side of the spectrum, he's like a suit, kind of big wig, rich.
So basically, whoever wins this tournament, which is basically like a demolition derby, whoever wins it is granted one wish.
One wish.
So
they'll go back to Calypso at the end, and it doesn't really matter if Calypso's paranormal or a wizard or
right.
He's gonna grant him one wish, one way or another.
Yep. Sometimes he puts a twist into it and kind of F's you up.
And he's kind of the Shao Kahn of this whole thing, tournament. People getting cars with guns. And it's fun, baby.
Yep.
So, like we said, Ron Perlman is our main protagonist.
He will be playing Roadkill.
Which
is kind of like, I wanted to make a mixture of like Roadkill from Twisted Metal 2 and maybe a little bit from Twisted Metal Black, because Twisted Metal Black's Roadkill is John Doe, who has amnesia. But I also wanted to make him Roadkill from one of the first games, where he's kind of like knows that this tournament might not be real, or maybe he's part of something bigger. And it's like, oh, if you ever watch the endings for these games, you will think like, wow, this is really fun writing.
Some of them are funny, some of them are serious, some of them are, it's a funny game, it's a serious game. That's why I love it. That's why I love Twisted Metal.
Yeah, it's like coming straight out of like a 90s comic book or cartoon, I think, but in like the most gruesome way possible. Yeah. So Ron Perlman as Roadkill. We'd have Sweet Tooth as David Harbour as Sweet Tooth. And we will be using the Twisted Metal Black interpretation of Sweet Tooth, which is a crazy serial killer ice cream man whose head turns in fire due to a preacher's curse. So yeah, and then so he would be Sweet Tooth, and these are the main characters. So we got Ron Perlman as Roadkill, Sweet Tooth as
David
Harbour,
and as Calypso.
Calypso, we went with Jared Leto.
Oh yeah, yes, we did, dude.
Jared Leto. We wanted to go more suave. Theatrical,
Calypso. Like welcome to Twisted Metal.
Welcome to
that
Twisted
kind of thing. We were thinking. Who were we thinking first?
We had a
Anthony Starr. Anthony Starr could have done it.
Anthony Starr could do deranged, but also very like theatrical. Maybe like more pompous, more cocky. Maybe we wanted more of like a
Joker kind of
Riddler, Jared Leto.
Like welcome.
Not Jared Leto Joker, but like jokey, but also very theatrical and crazy and serious. So something like that. We went with Jared Leto.
Jared Leto.
Yeah.
Eat your heart out.
It's Morbin time. So yeah, that's our plot summary. That was our cast introduction. Plot summary. We this is kind of where we're going, more of the Twisted Metal Black area. So it's going to be taking place in real world. Everybody's still alive. There is no apocalypse, but there is a person named Calypso, played by Jared Leto, who is trying to start something because he's basically like this most wanted, like FBI's most wanted criminal. And of course, the person that's on the case is this detective who is Roadkill, who is Ron Perlman. So Ron Perlman is trying to figure out who Calypso is and what he's planning, because he happened to make several visits to Blackfield Asylum, which is where most of the Twisted Metal characters from Twisted Metal Black are being held. And he basically invites them to a contest or tournament where they are going to be fighting with their, like, you know, cars that he basically souped up, because he's this rich criminal mastermind who has all these cars ready, and he's ready to have this demolition derby, you know, in the town
Right.
that they have. It's going to be like a small town.
We're going more for the, obviously, like the rich Calypso.
Yes.
Bigwig Calypso. He has all this. He's a trillionaire, maybe. And this is how.
Well, like an underground, like,
Oh, yeah.
trillionaire.
But this is how
Like
he knows.
crypto. Maybe add some cryptocurrency in there.
Modernize it a little bit.
Modernize it a little.
He's a Bitcoin founder.
Yeah.
That's how he's so rich.
Yeah.
But no,
yeah.
like, so that's how he knows about everyone. That's how he knows what cars to give
Yes.
the other inmates. That's how he
Yes.
knows. That's how he knows everything.
So
He's
yeah,
rich.
and basically busts them out of prison, and that's when the tournament actually begins. And the tournament's going to be put in 3 rounds. Now, if you've played the video games, you know that whenever you kill everybody in the game, that's how you win, and you go into the next level. And there's like 10 levels usually. So, but it's always the same people you're fighting, because it's a limited character roster. So unlike the video game, instead of them actually killing the people in these vehicles when they're fighting, we're going to add like a subset of like policies or rules where basically, you know, if you survive after your car is completely destroyed, you know, jump out of it, you jump in a lake or something, or someone gets you out of the windshield or something like that.
Like,
You're still in the tournament. You're still in the tournament, and you might be going into the next round.
If your car doesn't
Yes.
explode with you in it and you're still alive, what did we say? Maybe
Still
they
have
get
a pulse.
Maybe they get a new car.
They get a new car because, you know, there's other people in the tournament that may be indirectly trying to be in the tournament to get this wish, like maybe innocent bystanders, or maybe people that just want to join the tournament for fun. We have like a couple of jokey characters in there that would be Thumper, a couple of Chicanos. I think we said
Who did we say? Oh, Michael Pena.
Pena, and we said I think
like George Lopez. Or
yeah,
someone
George
like
Lopez,
that.
like maybe having like 2, like, hey man, I thought the tournament, man, I know the tournament was gonna happen, dude. Let's go.
Hey man, let's soup up our lowrider real quick.
Super Lowrider, get some gas.
And then there's a scene where they
It will.
bust out of the garage.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a Fast and Furious kind of movie where he's like does like a tailspin, and then when they get out of their car, just try and shoot people with their guns, just knocks them all out, like
Twisted
with
Metal
Dark Side.
crossover with
Fast and Furious. Oh, that's yeah. You're welcome, Hollywood. So yeah, that's going to be the prime, you know, story where basically they're going to go through 3 rounds. Ron Perlman is the way he got wrapped into this tournament is that Sweet Tooth actually takes him hostage, and now he's involved in the tournament through Sweet Tooth, and Sweet Tooth, of course, is you know, participating in the tournament, actually killing these people.
You skipped a little bit. So
Yes.
Ron Perlman's character, I'll just call him Roadkill. Roadkill.
I want to go into the finer details when we actually go into the drawing before we draw the card. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, without further ado, let's draw the card. Michael Bay Money. You must have 5 prominent action scenes for your idea that can contain explosions, crashes, and excessive elaboration. Awesome. So we got to think of 5
That's
prominent
easy.
action scenes in the middle of the 3 rounds.
So,
Let's go.
Okay.
So-
So let's explain again from the beginning.
Zone of Comfort.
Zone of Comfort is the first one.
Ron Perlman, detective. Elias Roadkill. I don't whose name is actually Charles Doe, because I wanted to mix Charles Kane and John Doe, and everybody's going to stay with me at this point. So,
like we said, no apocalypse.
Yes.
No nothing. Everything's nice and
He's trying to solve a case.
He's just trying to solve a case. He has a family, XYZ.
yes,
Um,
and basically he wants to know who Calypso is and why did he go to Blackfield Asylum to talk to several of these contestants that we will later be introduced, because he is interrogating all of them to see what they know and also to get some of their backstories.
and then obviously we'll
No
put in
Face, Preacher, Dark Side, maybe Manslaughter from Minion, and then of course Sweet Tooth. Now Sweet Tooth is going to be a main character because he has a connection with Ron Perlman, and that connection is Ron Perlman is the reason why Sweet Tooth is in jail. Sweet Tooth's actual name is Needles Kane, which is going to be important in the later into the plot. But yeah, that's the Zone of Comfort. Detective, really good at his job, wants to solve the case of Calypso.
They're trying to crack the case.
Yes.
Oh, we've been trying to catch this Calypso for years.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
And he's been working with his buddy Agent Stone, who is actually Outlaw in Twisted Metal Black.
Which is the police car.
And he's played by Terry Crews.
Did we say Terry Crews?
Yes, Terry Crews. He's jacked. He's a
jacked.
He's kind of like the Hobbs of this series. He also plays like a light comedy kind of
comic
situation.
relief kind of.
Yeah, he makes some jokes here or there.
It's Terry Crews.
This crazy ass clown.
Calypso. Remember me?
All right, yeah, but they want something. That's who they want. They want Calypso. So they enter into this unfamiliar situation, enter the tournament.
So obviously the unfamiliar situation, Calypso, maybe some of his henchmen, his lackeys, his goons. They break out all of these inmates from
Blackfield Asylum.
Which are all the drivers.
Get them all out.
He kidnaps them all.
Brings them to like an abandoned steel mill, or maybe like an amusement park.
Maybe like an
open area,
or like a carved out field.
Yes,
or something,
yes.
or like maybe something underground.
Yeah, and maybe it has like some like garages, like some shitty garages where the cars are being hidden. So yeah, he like basically kidnaps all of them.
He takes them to the outskirts of town, basically, where nobody will see them.
Yes, because this is a small town.
And there's going to be a lot of destruction.
Yes.
So they need space for this.
Yes. And of course, because we wanted this to be like a small port town, we're going to have to find like maybe some like justification of why the U.S. Army isn't involved. But yeah, obviously Calypso has some connections.
Didn't we say it's like a...
He has some connections.
Well, no, we said it's like a low population town.
Low population port town. They don't know what the hell's about to happen because this one day is going to be 3 rounds of a crazy demolition derby tournament. Lots of people will die.
So then we said Ron Perlman, he wants to solve the case so bad. He hears about the tournament somehow.
Yes. And then, of course, when it all happens, while they're all getting kidnapped, Sweet Tooth is given a special mission. Kidnap Ron Perlman's character.
Do we know this?
Charles. Yeah.
In the movie, do we know that Calypso sent Sweet Tooth?
Yes. Okay. It's implied. Maybe during when they're like choose your vehicle,
or he'll be like, you come here.
Yes.
I need you to do something.
Very special.
And then it just cuts.
Yeah, or
that's all you get.
He's like, I know you know what I'm about to ask you, and then boom, cuts to black.
And then next scene.
Get to it.
So then this is where we.
Boom.
So Ron Perlman.
I want him to get handcuffed to like the ice cream truck.
Hold on. Right, so Ron Perlman and Terry Crews. They take their SWAT armored vehicle with guns mounted and everything. That's going to be his vehicle.
Yes.
They fucking ram that into the tournament field while maybe the first round?
Yes, first round.
So
which will be in like a small area of like the downtown area.
They bust into the tournament like by force.
Yes.
And then somehow, some way, Ron Perlman gets kidnapped by Sweet Tooth.
And he's held captive.
Terry Crews is left there to survive the rest of the rounds.
Yes.
Maybe we kill him all.
And he'll survive maybe the second or the third round.
Maybe he'll die the third round.
Yes, because in Outlaw Story and Twisted Metal Black, Agent Stone actually is a Blackfield Asylum inmate, but we did not want to make him an inmate in this one, so we have some camaraderie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's get one of our action scenes in here. So let's talk about the first round. The first round is going to be they're going to be in like the downtown area of this small town. So it's just going to be like
it's going to be like the Paris level of Twisted Metal.
Yes, but it's going to be like there's going to be so many explosions and like probably them ramming through buildings, destroying them.
Slow-mo.
Maybe
they get on the roof, they jump.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe they can do like a reference to like he does like a left right and maybe like an up down turn, and then it like somehow his car like banks off a roof, kind of like how when you do like inputs you can make your car jump or like do like freeze or something like that. But yeah, realistically that's just be like
honestly,
missiles.
There's gonna be explosions everywhere.
So yeah, that would be like the first like big action scene is like the downtown destruction of this small town, and it's just people are caught in the crossfire. Maybe even like one guy gets like into like this construction like crane and says, you know what, I've had it, and just goes in there and there's your Mr. Slam reference.
The civilians are joining. Oh, by the way, rated
like
R.
The Purge.
Hard R.
Yes, absolutely. So maybe a couple of the contestants might like lose at this point. I think one of the contestants definitely like
we'll kill some people off. Whatever.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to make this like the first prominent action scene. So like maybe just so the stakes are raised, there is a character called No Face who literally has his whole like eyes and mouth stitched in Twisted Metal Black. He's basically like a boxer who the surgeon
fucked up his face.
No, yeah, because he lost the bet because he betted on him to win. and he lost the bet. So he, as the surgeon, he just he like takes everything out of his body. So yeah, I would want, maybe him would probably die because he's a very minor character. He has an interesting backstory, but I could see him being like the first one to go in the first round. Maybe a couple of the goons that are involved in the demolition derby of Calypso's will probably blow up as well. So yeah, lots of explosions in the downtown area. There'll probably be like hella police at the end. And that's when they have to move into their next location, which is round 2. I wanted to say amusement park or something like abandoned kind of.
Amusement park.
Yeah, amusement
Sounds
park.
fun.
So that would be the second prominent action scene where while all of this is happening, you know,
Ferris wheel explodes.
Yes, Ferris wheel explodes.
Lands on a car and another explosion happens. Or lands like on a gas tank or something.
Yeah, or maybe like someone's car gets tied to the Ferris wheel and like maybe Sweet Tooth's car, and then he just like pumps the gas and he uses it like a firing whirlwind of chaos and just destroys
Slow
it.
motion.
And then maybe obviously the second round, because it's almost close to the third round, and we're going to tell you what happened in the third round because that's where the crazy action scenes are going to happen. So yeah, so after that big action scene of the amusement park explosion.
Is in Sweet Tooth's car the whole time.
Yes. And he's adapting to all of this craziness. He's
understanding.
Yeah.
You know, they chit chat back and forth, Sweet Tooth and
Yeah.
Roadkill.
He's almost like the Mad Max of Sweet Tooth's Furiosa. Furiosa was a murderous clown, so that's kind of the situation that Ron Perlman in. He's just trying to survive. That's his whole idea. He's like, I got to survive and put all the pieces together because he's starting to learn more about, you know, what is involved in his operation. Why is Calypso doing this? Who is Sweet Tooth, and why is he the one that he sent to kidnap him? He's putting all these pieces together while all these explosions are happening. So now we get into the round 3. So after before round 3, so round 2 kind of ends in like a stalemate where, you know, people are getting out of their vehicles, stuff like that. They fall out, or they die, and then like maybe a couple of them just leave the tournament altogether. So we have like maybe like a standoff. It's between Outlaw and Sweet Tooth's car, and they're just both like just going in like smashing into each other.
Smashing each other.
Yes. And then maybe like Sweet Tooth says, "How about you push that red button over there?"
And then Ron Perlman's like, "But that's my partner."
Yeah. He's like conflicted. He's like, you know, it's either us or him. And then he's maybe this is where he learns that the only reason why Terry Crews was involved in this is because he wanted to get his wish.
Oh shit.
So he's like, and somehow he figures that out, and then like, or maybe he interrupts his broadcast and he's like, "I'm sorry, man. I need this.
Yeah.
I want to change this. I know Calypso can give this to me. He's talking to me."
And it's like a daughter or something. Or maybe something.
What is a Suicide Squad?
I want my daughter back.
What are we? Some kind of twisted metal squad?
So then he pushes the button.
Yes.
Sweet Tooth flaming fucking
yes.
head comes up.
Busts out of the ice cream truck on the top of it.
Boom. There's another one of our explosions.
So that's explosion 3, action scene 3. We've already set up the scene.
Round 2 done.
Yep. So that's when they get to the third and final round.
Is this Minion?
Yes. So Ron Perlman somehow escapes Sweet Tooth's ice cream truck and finds another car, which is actually the signature car of Roadkill. He probably gives it from one of Calypso's goons or something like that. We'll figure it out.
And it looks exactly like it does in the game.
Yeah, in Twist Metal Black.
I'm not changing shit.
So they're both now in the third round. However, instead of them facing off against each other, what they then see, they hear this large rumbling. They hear the floor shaking, and then the car, their steering wheels are shaking. You think it's the engines? It's not the engines. It's Minion, the giant freaking tank.
It's like an armored vehicle.
It's like a giant armored bus. That's what it is.
It looks like
It's like the armored bus from Death Race 1.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's exactly what it's going to be.
A little more militaristic.
Probably like a couple guys in the windows, like with sniper rifles.
It's like a monster
truck.
It's a monster truck.
Yeah.
It's high as fuck.
Yes. So that's going to be.
It's a boss battle.
Yeah, it's a boss battle, just like in the game. So yeah, Minion boss battle. They both know that they can't kill it on their own, so they somehow decide to work together. So they get their cars in sync. They're like,
there's like cool combo scene.
Yes. Maybe a couple like missiles are getting shot into the armor somehow, or like maybe Ron Perlman has like some like he's starting to like figure out like a strategy. He's like, all right, listen, I know you don't want to. I know I want to kill you, and I know you want to kill me, but guess what? We're in this together for now.
I don't know. There's like some sequence. I don't know. I'm thinking of like some crazy sequence.
So then
Ron Perlman freezes him.
Yeah. So I wish we had like toy cars so we could like kind of capitalize on this.
Play action figures.
Yeah. So yeah, like maybe then finally when they're about to deal like maybe Roadkill like uses himself as bait and then like Minion is about to like
He would not. Why would he use himself as bait for Sweet Tooth?
or no, that's what I'm saying. So like maybe he's about to like shoot like his last missile or like his last machine gun, but he's like
His gas tank is exposed. We
Yeah.
need to hit that spot.
yeah, or something like that, and then he's like kind of stuck, and then like Sweet Tooth comes in. Yeah, you hear that, and then he rams into the car.
Use explosion. Explosion
Number
count.
4. Okay, and then it goes to the final battle. Like Sweet Tooth's vehicle is probably like completely like mangled, and then Roadkill's vehicle probably can barely move because of the explosion. So they're both looking at each other, and then they're both about to ram each other, and then
I
Calypso.
thought we already did this.
No, don't worry. And then,
Don't worry.
and then Calypso says, "Congratulations. Come back to these coordinates, and we will discuss your wish." So they're both confused. So they both drive there. Because I guess they're like, well, I guess we can't. I guess we're not gonna kill each other. So they all drive back, and then so they get out of their cars, and this is where the real drama happens. So I obviously haven't been leaving these breadcrumbs because this is not an actual movie, and I don't have the entire script of this, but this is how it goes in my head. There's little hints at each part of the movie where basically the reason why Roadkill, whose a name in the movie, is Charles Doe.
Dude,
so
good luck.
Charles' last name. Okay, so the last name.
Good luck explaining this.
Okay, so Charles's last name is like maybe like Stevens or like something like a generic last name. However, if you're familiar with the games,
Very familiar.
what I'm doing is I'm combining a lot of the aspects from those game storylines about Charles Kane and Needles Kane. As we know, Needles Kane is Sweet Tooth. Meanwhile, Charles Kane is the brother of Sweet Tooth. So I said, let's make this extra twisted edition. Let's make it where Ron Perlman's character, the detective, who is also Roadkill, who is also Charles, doesn't know that he's Charles Kane until the last moment, because when they're going to get their wish, this is why Sweet Tooth kidnapped him, and this is why Sweet Tooth hasn't been actually trying to kill him this entire tournament. Because it turns out Charles Blank is actually Charles Kane, and Sweet Tooth, who claims to be Needles Kane, is not actually Needles Kane. He is Charles Kane. And Ron Perlman's Charles Kane. No, stay with me.
Oh, I am, dude. I get it.
Ron Perlman's.
Let me explain it after you.
Ron Perlman's Charles Kane is actually Needles Kane. So let's take a step
And
back.
why did this happen again?
So let's take a step back. So we're gonna see flashbacks, and this is gonna be like the Saw flashbacks.
Oh, yeah,
where
this
it's
is-
like,
You know how Saw at the end, they
Yes.
go through every single little
Yes.
clue, and then it ends up back at the end.
so let's go back to where the wish was, though. So Ron Perlman thankfully has his gun and manages to find a gun, and so during the wish like of granting of scene, Ron Perlman pulls his gun out and says, "You're both under arrested. You're both coming with me."
You're both under arrested.
Yes, and then Jared Leto says, "But I wanted to grant your wish," and he says, "I don't want a damn wish. What are you fucking talking about?" And then
Rated R.
and then Jared Leto says, "Calypso," he says, "I know you have a wish, and it's been with you this entire time. So why don't you tell me what you want?" And he's like, starts telling him like, "You don't know who you really are. You were adopted, this and that, blah blah blah. You became a really good detective. Why are you good with weapons? Why are you good with this? You're very proficient, stuff like that." Basically, he knows who he is left and right, but he knows who
But he doesn't know who
but
he
he
is.
but he knows who he really is. That's what Calypso's saying. He knows who he really is, and the only way he's going to tell him is if he asks for the wish. So Ron Perlman puts his gun down and says, and like kind of like grabbing his hat, he's like, "Who am I? That's my wish. Can you do that?" And he says, "You're Needles Kane." And so it goes back to this flashback.
Saw flashback. A little
All right.
raindrops.
Both of them are maybe like teenagers.
They're brothers.
Yeah, they're both brothers. So the Needles Kane that we see in the movie, that's
Sweet Tooth.
who's Sweet Tooth,
Which starts off at Sweet Tooth.
is actually Charles Kane, the younger brother of Needles Kane, and Ron Perlman's Charles Kane is actually Needles Kane. Therefore, he is actually Sweet Tooth. And the reason why, so basically they were both brothers, and the younger one started mimicking what the older one was doing, because he was becoming this serial killer, this crazy clown murderer with the clown mask. However, he knows he was eventually going to get caught and all good things were going to come to an end.
So this is where it makes sense.
So he creates his new personality based off of his younger brother, Charles Kane.
It's multiple personality disorder. You gotta keep reiterating.
Split.
This is a
So
this is a psychological thing.
Yes.
This has nothing. This is not
He throws the sweet tooth persona, his entire personality, in the back of his mind.
Yeah, hold on.
And
just one more thing.
Yes.
He wants to separate himself.
Yes.
So he
separates
doesn't.
himself.
So he doesn't get caught.
Yes.
So he starts convincing himself
that he is not Needles
Kane. That he is not Sweet Tooth Needles Kane. He's actually he is a Charles. He's Charles Kane, his brother.
But he also wants to not remember what family he's actually from, which is the one with this crazy clown murderer. So he distanced himself from that. However, he gives the mantle to his brother Charles Kane and tells him, "You are now Needles Kane."
Because Charles Kane the OG Charles Kane is his brother, and he mimics his brother's
serial killer
murders.
brother.
So
that's why when he does eventually arrest Needles Kane, quote, sorry, since you can't see it, Needles Kane, that's when he becomes this detective, doesn't know anything about his past life. That's the big twist.
That's part of the mental disorder.
The extra twist.
That's part of the mental disorder. His split personality disorder. This whole time he doesn't know. It's not that he does know and he's just trying to be sneaky. He actually doesn't know. He's repressed these memories so much.
And this new personality became his actual life that he just doesn't even know that he was the person that was the murdering clown. Yes. So that's why. And then comes full circle. Boom. And that's the ending. That's and of course that's the wish.
Well, no, you skipped the part where.
Let me get to. I know. I'm sorry.
You said that's the end.
Okay, no, but that's the end of the twist. So that's where he realizes, so Calypso somehow coaxes Ron Perlman to give him the gun. He takes the gun from his hands and he shoots Sweet Tooth. And he takes the mask from Sweet Tooth and gives it to the real Needles Kane and says,
real Sweet Tooth.
"Thank you for playing Twisted Metal." And so Ron Perlman, in retaliation, realizing who he now is, grabs Sweet Tooth's knife and slits Jared Leto's throat and he dies. And so he gets into the Sweet Tooth car and he starts putting his hands on it. And now he knows who he is. He gets one of his missiles and he shoots it out, blows up the steel mill and all of the rest of the Calypso's goons and drives away because he now knows who he really is.
Sweet Tooth.
So he paid a heavy price. The return to their familiar situation,
His real familiar situation.
His real familiar situation.
He's Sweet Tooth.
And he is now a changed man or changed clown.
That's awesome. It took me a while to get it. We were discussing this.
I had to explain this several times, and because
no, it is confusing.
Yes,
because you're basically doing a double flip.
Yeah, I'm doing a double twist. He is not only not Charles Kane, he's also
Needles Kane, who is also Sweet Tooth.
And Sweet Tooth, but Sweet Tooth is actually Charles Kane and not Needles Kane.
It's crazy.
Let's put a map up in there.
That'd be crazy. I mean, there's been more confusing movies like that. Once you get it,
yeah. Once you understand what I'm saying,
once you know what the fuck is going on,
you probably have to watch this video like 3 or 4 times before. Let us know what you think a good Twisted Metal movie would be. Maybe give us some casting ideas. We would love to hear that.
I don't give a shit what you think.
Thank you.